Redemption, welcome. This is Brother Eric Teray Muhammad coming at you live and direct on a couple of platforms. I just want to share a few things before I start my journeys. In a few, I'll be on the road, but I was inspired tremendously this evening from the wonderful presentation from Mr. Gregory McKay, Gold Rocks, earlier this evening, and then as it blossomed into the empowerment call with Dr. Tim Adair, Dr. I'll call him Dr. also Lucian with the solution, Ms. Cheryl Ann Gover, Mr. Malcolm Dalco, and Mr. Ty Best. There's several things that crossed the mind, but it fueled the one major thing for me that I want to share with most of you. And it's about attitude. You know, the last few weeks, the last few streams that I shared, I talked often about having a wealth builder's mentality, a wealth builder's mentality versus a consumer mentality. And that discussion does have its place. A wealth building mentality is one where you foster leveraging. You look at what you have to work with and you plan against what you have to work with to protect your asset and move on or grow in the future your assets. Grow in the future your leverage, that hedge against inflation, that hedge of protection against inflation. Because inflation will never outpace the fiat currency. The fiat currency, your salaries, your hourly wages will always be met. It will always meet inflation, but never go beyond inflation. It will always grow to meet inflation, and then inflation continues to grow. And you in that same perpetual state of trying to get it to meet, match, or overcome. But it is impossible because the idea of money in itself, in terms of what's used in this world, in this society, in this economy today, is a false notion. It's an illusion at best. It is uh it's faith married on to nothing. In the lessons of Mr. Muhammad, we're asked the question, why do we love the devil? We love the devil because he gives us nothing. So you have a debt system, you know, not a wealth system, not an appreciating system, not an asset-based system, but a debt, a liability system, one where we're forced to function under on a constant and consistent basis. Okay, so that's what fuels this economy. That fuels this economy because this economy is based on debt. Then you have uh, 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 a wealth building mentality that provides security, that gives you an opportunity to get around the very debt or get above the very debt that inflation encourages. All right. So a wealth building mentality, that discussion has its place. A consumer mentality is the one that has been the root of our problem. The root of our problem in the consumer mentality is, in fact, that uh, we just spend, 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 and we save nothing. We spend and pay everything and everyone and everybody but ourselves, the individual that's grinding 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from Kansas City in the morning to Kansas City at night for compensation that will in turn produce the revenue we seek for a bill, because you'll never earn enough to take care of all of your debt, because this is a debt nation. We live in a debt state. And as a result, poverty rules. All right. So, yes, the conversations of wealth building mentality as opposed to or versus a consumer mentality, that's a worthy conversation to have. All right. But now, after hearing what was said tonight on these magnificent power calls, I have to give way to the root of all of both the problem and solution. It's the attitude by which we bring to it. It's the state of mind that we bring to it. Attitude. And attitude, ladies and gentlemen, attitude is a product of belief. Attitude is a product of belief. You know, if you have a poor attitude, then you're guaranteed that your system of belief is poor. If you have a high achieving attitude, if you have a attitude that encourages teachable moments, an attitude that encourages uh, uh, momentum, humility, at the same time, drive, absolutely, then you have a greater belief system. You know, many of those in the world of religion, God, who claim to be God fearing, who claim to be very spiritually centered, you see everything in their demeanor. You see everything in their activity that speaks to their belief system. All right. Because the attitude is a product of the belief system. So if I believe I'm a Muslim, if I believe I'm a Christian, if I believe I'm a Jew, and if I practice those tenets and I push at it with the drive and the vigor that feeds the belief, that I'm guaranteed to exemplify it through my attitude. So attitude fuels belief. Belief is dictated. It dictates attitude. It's the driving force of all your activity. Hell, if I'm the lion of the jungle, if a lion is the king of the jungle, then you best believe that lion believes it. And all the other creatures within the reach of the lion believes it. And as a result, they make sure that they don't become prey. They absolutely make sure they don't become prey. Why? Because there's no doubt in the mind of any member of the jungle that the lion is king. Well, what establishes that fact? It's the attitude that comes, the swagger that comes, the command of space and presence that comes with being king. To be a wealth builder, there's a swag that comes with it. There's a sway that comes with it. There's an understanding that comes with it. But in order to fuel that swag, that understanding, that attitude, you must have a belief system, and you must surround yourself with those who believe as you believe. See, with the right attitude, with the right mentality behind what you do, what happens is your belief system grows and the company you keep changes. It absolutely changes. So if I'm in a nickel dime arena and I want to get $1 million, no, I do not remain in the nickel dime arena. I work, I toil, I struggle, I study, I learn and excel out of that arena because my attitude dictates that I have to be in the right arena for the right results. We have to be products of our belief system. And our belief system has to be so strong that the attitude by which we reflect, it exemplifies the belief. What do I believe? I believe that freedom is achievable. I believe that freedom is a right, a human right, a moral right, an ethical right, and in many arenas, a legal right, but freedom is a right. We're born into a society, however, that cannot survive off an individual seeking freedom. So a talented collective got together and they pulled together a system of debt. And that system of debt has been in place for well over 200 years. And then it blossomed into a system that governed an entire nation. From what Brother Dante Taylor, I see he was on the stream, what Brother Dante shared earlier today in this morning's power call in Truth Telling Thursday. That power call shared how the cabal got together, those handful of people, those 6 men who ruled or controlled rather the majority of the known wealth in the known world. We're talking about 1910, folks. And they got together in Jekyll Island, Georgia, and they made a pact amongst themselves, and they changed names to protect their exposure for the crime. And the Federal Reserve was built. Okay, so in that making, it was determined by law, by fact, through fear. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. The false presentation of law, the false presentation of jurisprudence, the false presentation of fact allowed us to fall for the hokey doke as citizens of a country. And as a result, gold was removed from the standard, gold was removed from your pocket, and debt became king. And the attitude that comes with the debt system is one that fosters suffering, slavery, subjection, suppression, and oppression. But now, with the right attitude, we can break through that glass ceiling. As Dr. Tim Adair said tonight, the glass ceiling it's not that it's a glass ceiling, it's actually a magnifying glass showing you your possibilities beyond that roof. We have to shatter that system of debt that remains as a roof over our homes, within our economy, under our roof. We can shatter that with the proper belief system. You have to believe that freedom's attainable, folks. You have to believe that freedom is your right. You have to believe that freedom is something you can attain by choice. It's a choice you have to make, but you have to know what freedom is. You have to know what freedom is in order to achieve it. And again, if you have a poor attitude about anything that you do, it's guaranteed is because your belief system has not been made strong enough. So I suggest strongly that you find a way to get with the like minds that are out here, that are thinking like me, that are speculating like you, that are thinking like others, that freedom is attainable. In Wealth Builders Worldwide, we know and we understand, we show, prove, and believe that wealth is within our right, that we can possess the proper leverage in our hand with incremental transactional gold. Gold, the real money, the absolute driving force of any economy or society. Karatbars possesses it. Karatbars has 999.9 pure 24K gold, LBMA certified, that which is used to settle debt amongst nations. We have it in our pockets. We have it on our accounts. We have it in our safe places. And we store it as not just a measure of saving, but we store it as a measure of leveraging, because you want to be able to put your hands on it when this thing goes down as it's going. The reset is already in place. 2008, you saw the real estate collapse, but I'm urging you to pay close attention to the loan industry, the student loan industry, as a matter of fact. Pay attention to who controls those bonds and those investments. You notice that bill collectors, you ever notice a bill collector? You might have had a debt with a credit card company, and that credit card company no longer hounds you. A collection agency does. And then that collection agency changes names. And then that collection agency follows you 4 or 5 different paths. You thought you stopped one call and another call came, or you stopped one bill from coming and another bill comes from another named company, because they buy each other's debt. Well, you have the same scenario going along. In 2000, you had the dot-com boom, right? And you had the growth of globalization and a global community. But the reality was it was moving too fast, too soon. So as a result, now you had the collapse of that system. You all remember WorldCom? No longer exists, does it? MCI WorldCom was the king and the magnet, but everybody lost their pensions. Everyone lost their savings behind MCI WorldCom, but the golden parachutes were distributed to everyone who were CEOs, CFOs, and directors of finance for the company. They all got the golden parachute. So you had MCI, you had MCI WorldCom, you had a lot of the technology companies, all of those that were around that are no longer present. They went bust. Okay. And Millions of people were on suicide watch because they believed on a system that was failing them from the time they took the job. Now, 2008, you fast forward and you had the real estate collapse. Why? Because Mr. Greenspan decided that if he were to lower interest rates to 1%, it would encourage some level of stability. It will encourage people to go ahead and make loans to secure homes. The only problem was you couldn't stop the floodgate, and you had bankers who were greedy. You had agents who were greedy. You had brokerage firms who were greedy. So they didn't care that they were putting people in homes they knew they couldn't afford. They didn't care that they knew they were putting people in homes that they could not pay for. You get a $300,000 loan for a home and have to pay back $525,000. Impossible on a minimum wage, on a salary. So the real estate boom went bust. In 2008, the long short occurred. And again, suicide watch crossed the breadth of America. Not just America, but it was a world collapse. And you found all your construction industries, all your fabricated homes, all of your wood and lumber and tile and shingle industries collapse. Contractors out of work. Suicide watch. So now you have this huge push for education. You have this huge push to redirect some of the thinking of economy, but you don't redirect the education. You're just pushing people towards education. Education where 70% of everyone who gets a degree in this society, in this day, in this hour, will never see jobs relative to their degree. Because a good many of those jobs don't even exist anymore. But that's the big push, the big illusion. And you're made to take out more loans and more loans and more loans and more loans to get through your college experience, your post-high school experience, you see, your graduate experience. And I'm not saying that the education is not needed. We need doctors of all stripe. We need engineers of all stripe. You know, we do. We need attorneys and practitioners of all stripes. This is true. Somebody has to do it. But at the cost, you go 4, 8 years, 12 years of education. You go into $500,000, almost $1 million in debt for loans that were not enough to cover your tuitions. So you get a loan on top of the loan. And then when you come out to get your $30,000, $40,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year job against $200,000 and $300,000 worth of debt, you're working 7 to 8 years before you make a dent in the principal. That's the next industry to go down, y'all. It's almost a guarantee. So you need something that will leverage you. You need something that will serve as a hedge, as a protection, as a shield against the falsehood of the economic demon. There's a falsehood here. And you need to have a belief system beyond the one that's failing you. And I can guarantee you that Karatbars International provides that system. So anyone who has encouraged you or has introduced this magnificent program to you, you need to get back to them. You need to get back to them and let them know that you're ready to get started in securing the lifestyle that you dream about securing the economy under your roof. It's that time. And if no one else has reached out to you, I guarantee you can look into my comments. You can look into the stream. Those of you who are following YouTube Live, you can look into the comments below and learn how you can do more for yourself by joining on to this great wealth transformation. It's in line. It's happening, y'all. Gold is God's money. God is power and force in definition, though you may have many names for him. God, by definition, means power and force. Well, you're being leveraged with some today. because the power and force of economy is God's money, and God's money is gold. It's gold. But you have to fuel your belief system. You have to get with like minds that do understand this process, that do understand this concept or strike, not concept, but this reality. You have to get with the like minds. Get back to those who introduced you to this wonderful program known as Karatbars International, and let them know that you're ready to get started in achieving the lifestyle of your dreams, of relieving debt from your household and replacing it with leverage and legacy. Leave a fortune for your children and your children's children. Long after you're gone, your name is remembered. You built your cornerstone. Let that building, that brick and mortar that goes up, let it show that it was built in loving memory of, founded by, endowed through. Let that be the legacy you leave, and not be wherever he laid his hat, there was a loan. Loan. And when he died, all he left was a loan. Loan. Let's remove our families from debt, family. Let's work on our belief systems. Get with those who think like you, who are willing to do as you, and more importantly, you get busy and get to doing. You have nothing to lose but your chains in this economy, and it's something that we constantly preach and share. How many teachers will it take for you before you understand the situation, the dire situation that the economy, that the world is in? How many teachers have to teach, pool your resources? How many teachers have to teach, do something for self? How many people have to come before you and say, pay yourself first before you pay others? Because the basis of all wealth building is at least paying yourself. Tithe to you. Give to yourself. And then look to take care of others in the way that your obligations dictate. But I guarantee you, if you pay yourself first, you'll have something to leave and something that appreciates. But not just pay yourself, meaning taking the paper dollar and put it in a sock drawer, or put it in a cookie jar, or in a box, a shoe box. We're not talking about that kind of saving, because you're not saving anything that will appreciate. You're just holding on to debt that will continuously fall in value. But if you take something as small as $5 US, $5 US, you take $5 US and exchange it for an appreciating asset, gold, I guarantee you that you will have a future that you'll be able to boast about, brag about, with joy, with excitement, and with resolve. Tonight, in the world of Muslims, this is known as the night of power in our holiday celebration, our 30-day celebration of Ramadan. The revelation of Quran, the revelation given to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, some more than 1400 years ago. The night of power is that night that fuels the great drive, the last leg of our Ramadan season. And in those last few nights, special prayers are put up where the God hears them and acknowledges them and responds to your personal strivings, your personal prayer beyond your obligatory prayers. God is asking you as a favor to your bowing to him, to our bowing to him. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? And as a believer, we speak our true desire, and God blesses us with his gift back to us, the reward of our prayer. The night of power is really just that. The night of power fuels your belief, and your belief is shown in your attitude, and you take nothing for granted. You take nothing against the belief system. You admonish anything that tries to get in the way of it, and you drive right through it like a Mack truck to accomplish your task and your goals. Why? Because your belief system has been fueled and your attitude is exact. I have an attitude and a desire to be free. What about you? You got to know the why to what you do in order to have the right formula to move forward. If you know your why, and you marry your why with your dream, and you believe on the fact that you can do it, then the attitude will be right, and God will bring everything into your life as an attraction. Ramadan Kareem, Brother Aubrey, he brings it. He brings it. So family, take this message back to anyone and everyone that you can. You can also share it and play back on YouTube Live. It's on YouTube. Go to my channel, Eric Ture Muhammad, ERICTURE Muhammad, MUHAMMAD. Mash that subscribe button when you get there. Let's build up that stream so you can see more trainings, more material related to the wealth building process. Carrot bars is the move. I want to thank you, Memphis. I want to thank Brother Carlito Muhammad, Brother Johnny Bodley, Brother Dante Taylor, Brother Jacques Hayes, and all of the family. Sister Denise Renee Muhammad of Kalfani Radio. Brother Aubrey, once again, Brother Johnny Sykes. Thank you all so much. Brother Kenny Muhammad, Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank all of you for responding to my little moment of what I consider joyous, righteous rant. Okay. Tomorrow, make sure you tune into the power calls that are produced by Wealth Builders Worldwide. You'll find that material all over the social media. I don't have the number in front of me, but you can go to wealthbuildersworldwide.info and you will see the information there and look up the schedule of events. I know on the East Coast it's 10:45 a.m. and we run Monday through Saturday. All right. But we had a wonderful teaching tonight. I want to thank our CEO and founder of Wealth Builders Worldwide, Brother Tyrone Best. I want to thank Mr. Michael Dalco. I want to thank Dr. Tim Adair, Lucian the Solution, Ms. Cheryl Ann Gober. I want to thank all of you for sharing and helping to fuel the faith that fuels the belief that produces the proper attitude. Peace and power, family. I'll see us all tomorrow on the power call. And those are in Atlanta area. We will be at Palmetto Library Saturday, June 1st at 2 p.m. At the Palmetto Library in Palmetto, Georgia. That's 9111 Cascade Highway in Palmetto, Georgia. All roads will lead there Saturday, June 1st, 2 p.m. You have nothing to lose but your chains. Bring someone with you. It's free for all affiliates. It's free for all guests. It's going to be a wonderful time. You're going to learn about this magnificent opportunity. You're going to learn how to maneuver this magnificent opportunity so you can come out of the beauty of Ramadan, out of the beauty of faith traditions, and receive the bountiful blessings that the God promises. He says, I'm here to give you life and life more abundantly. Well, abundance requires resource. And we have the opportunity to give you an abundance of that. Thank you, family. Peace and power. Assalamu alaikum.